there, this is Steve with TBG. This is going to be a quick integration with QuickBooks. Basically, my boss wants me to make some software that integrates with QuickBooks, basically that POS system I worked on last time. Well, now he wants to go with QuickBooks and do that inventory stuff and all that shit, so that's what I'm going to be doing. Another one, I'm also be working with another company for integrating a credit card slide machine, but I believe that one has a non-disclosure agreement, so I cannot share that one. QuickBooks, well, this information is on the web, but it's not really well detailed, or it's not kept up well. It's like old. And basically, they have an SDK. You go to the website, you download it, and it has all these different libraries in it. It's mainly XML based. They have some libraries in there that lets you build XMLs, through .NET. That way you don't have to actually mess directly with XML yourself. Instead, you do this thing with they call it FC. I can't exactly remember what it's. I guess QBFC, whatever. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and create a quick little thing here to retrieve employee names from QuickBooks. Basically what I did here, oops, I don't got my QuickBooks. Here's the regular QuickBooks. I installed it, made up a quick little company, added a few items, and added a few employees in there. So I'm going to go in here to the employee list. Here's, okay, basically system admin, that's always going to be on there, and this is the employee that I added, which is myself. Okay, and also we're going to look at the timesheets, because timesheets is one of the things we want to work with as well. Be able, clock in, clock out. So I'm going to go here, timesheet record. I already have one record in here, but I'm going to create another one. Actually, I'm going to just delete this, and we'll create a new one. Alright. And also got a bunch of items in here. What else? Do you want to import? No. Alright, just a bunch of crap. Okay. Alright, so that's QuickBooks. Basically, what the QuickBooks is going to connect to this system is going to go by the computer name and then the name of the file and version. So up here we have, well, let's see. Go to company data, open. Here's the different company names, and these are the names you're going to need. Created one called Peer 30, and there's one called New Company Data. The Peer 30. Since I'm using QuickBooks version 9, that's what I'm going to use in my connection string. Yeah, fuck off thing. Oh, come on. There's one thing I hate about this software. It takes freaking forever to do anything. Alright. Come on, switch back. Oh. Alright. Well, better cancel this crap here. Alright. Basically, I'm going to go in here, create a quick new project, and I'm going to try to get the employee list out of QuickBooks. Just a new application, QuickBooks examples. Every time I type in QB, it reminds me of old, quick, I guess QBasic, used to do that stuff back in the day. Basic, QBasic 4.5, I think is the last thing I messed with. Get rid of that page. Alright, here we go, this is the form. We really don't need much of this, but we're going to create some stuff in here so we can display the employees. Alright, I'm going to drop a list box in here. Default, nothing to it. List box. Boom. Alright. Go to my load form. Open. Oh yeah, first we got to add the library to the project so that we can access QuickBooks. So we'll go to project. Go down to references or resource. No, sorry, I was right. References. I'm going to go add. And I installed the QuickBooks SDK straight from the website, and I did it for the POS system. And the regular QuickBooks regular QuickBooks SDK has all the libraries. So whenever you download either one, they'll have all the libraries included. And it's a com library. And I believe the library it's QuickBooks POS FC, or they call it QBFC. Then there's a version like 3 or 1, 2, whatever. So I'm going to use, so here's QBFC F7, FA, F3. The only reason I use F3 because that's just what I found to work. I went through every single other library and I've had problems with connecting with it, but this version worked for some reason. I don't know what it is yet. So I mean, you'd think these all have all of the stuff with it, but I've been able to get shit to work with this one and not with these other ones. Maybe I do something wrong, but hey, I got it working. So I'm going to go ahead and add this resource in. Okay, and that's pretty much it. So what I'm going to do now got a cheat sheet on my side here. I already wrote the application, so I'm just going to go through here, kind of show you what I did. I'm going to have to load the employees. I guess I should put a yes or something. Load employee. S bucket. But screw the grammar, okay? Alright, so create a sub called load employees. I guess private sub employees. Alright, now what we gotta do first is start a connection. And to start a connection, it's fairly simple. I create my own little subclass to create the connection, because you might use it, well, you're going to use it over and over. Hold on. Okay. Alright, so this is first a few things that we got to declare here. So I'm trying to think how to do this. Okay. Alright, there's this basically QBFC uses something called a message session, and that's what it uses to basically generate the XML. So I'm going to go ahead and create that first, create a reference to that. So I'm going to create a private session manager as QB, come on, libraries, and it's going to be a QB, there it is, session manager. Okay, anything else? I want to probably create a collection so I can store my employees in, but I'll do that later. Alright, so that's the message we're going to create. And what I'm going to do is create a connection string sub that's going to do the connection for us. I'm going to call it just start session. Okay, what I'm going to do here, first up here you notice I did not create an instance of this, it's just a reference, so I'm going to go that session manager is equal to new QBFC session manager. Now you could have done that up here, but we're going to be rebuilding it every single time, just that way we know for sure it's good. Alright, what we got to do now is open a connection, and whenever you open a connection, QuickBooks has to authorize your connection use, but you can always tell to always authorize your usage. So what we do is start with the session manager, and we're going to do open connection. And now this is a ID number, an application ID. This ID is usually given to you by Intuitive whenever you register your software with them. But you know, we're not. We're just building a we're building software for us. I mean, we're not going to distribute it and hand it out to Intuitive. If you want to, you can read up more of that. Go to the website, you know, and they'll tell you. Either way, I'm going to create a quick little bullshit ID here, and then I'm going to give it the application name. And my application is called QB samples. Okay, that's part. That's how QuickBooks knows what applications access it. So whenever we run this, QuickBooks is going to pop up an authentication page, and it's going to ask us to yes or no or whatever, and whatever stuff. Alright, here now we're going to create the actual connection stream. To create the connection stream, basically we're going to start the session. So we're going to go with SSG manager dot begin session, and here's where we build our connection stream. It requires a computer name, and then the computer name is the system you're connected to. In my case, I'm just putting my system name here. You can probably just put, you know, localhost. That'll probably work as well. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is the company data. And I was calling it Peer 30 bar. Okay. And then last but not least, the version of the QuickBooks you're accessing. Version equals 9. Here we go. Okay. Now also we're going to create a end session, and it's going to have, it's very simple to end a session, but you know, since I already have a start, I want to have an end as well. So it's going to be session manager dot end session. That's it. And they also recommend that you close the connection as well. Close the connection and also wipe out the reference. That's why up here I have to do the new again because I keep wiping it out. Alright, so we got to start and close. Now I'm going to show you a quick little thing here. I'm going to go ahead and create a, oops, that's not what I wanted to do. What the hell did I do? I just wanted to copy this. What the hell? Oh, it won't let me double click. Forget. Alright, I'm going to open a session, close a session. But first I wanted to show you something else. I wanted to do this. In QBF7 you can actually do it where you don't give it a connection string and it will prompt a window and just let you select the connection string. I guess in QBFC 3 it doesn't do that. Alright, but this is it. So I'm going to run this real quick, and what we should see is this window pop up and some kind of message saying, do you want to authorize this application to connect to QuickBooks? So we're going to run this thing real quick. Boom, there it is. Alright, this is the authorization screen. In here it asks you if you want to allow it or no. Yes, always, or yes at this time. I'm just going to do always because we're going to be messing with that. And this is it. We didn't create anything else inside it, so close this out. Okay, so this computer name here, I'm guessing since it's using localhost as IP addresses, you could probably create some kind of domain reference, a domain name, insert in there, and you can probably target any system out on the internet. And I'm not sure what ports they're using, but something tells me you can probably tell it what port to use and stuff like that. So basically you can access any QuickBooks anywhere in theory. Alright, so now we're going to add our stuff into here to actually load the employees. Since this is going to be on load form, I'm not going to have to clear out the list because the list will already be cleared. So what we need to do is start session, end session, and what we do now is actually let me find my little cheat sheet here and find where I'm loading employees. There we go. Alright, we got to create what's called a message request. Basically, this message request is supposed to have all the XML data inside it. So in QuickBooks, they have this thing called I'm just gonna add this thing on here. Hold on. There, that way I don't type that shit anymore. Alright. And this is called a IMSG message request. Alright, that's basically QBF. I guess I'll do it the long way so everyone can see where I'm getting all the stuff from. Alright, and then I want the message request or MSG set request. That's the one. Yeah, there. Now if you notice here, it doesn't have, I didn't put a new on there. Basically because whenever we create this session up here, this new is where everything's already created. All this stuff is just adding onto this object. It's interesting the way it works. So, like I say, this is more like this message session manager is more like a how do you say it? An XML sheet. If you were to do like, see if this works. Wow, I guess that forms into an XML request. So it's like an XML engine or something. Alright, what am I doing now? Okay, I gotta make this request work. So MSG request is equal to session manager dot create message set or message request. This asks you for the version you're using. This shit changes every single time, but version 3, that's what I've been using and it works. If it doesn't work, try a different version. 2, 3, 5. I guess it depends on what kind of QuickBooks you're using. Alright. There's a few things that's on the sample that I didn't quite understand, but I'm going to do them anywhere because without them it doesn't seem to work. Okay, I'm going to first create this. First of all, I'm going to create this request, and this request is going to ask for the employees. So, to ask for the employees, I'm going to create this employee query. Employee query. There we go. and then I'm going to assign it to the MSG request. Misspelled that. I'm going to append employee queries. So whenever you're doing an I query or I whatever the query, you're always going to have an append blah 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 query. So basically you're adding stuff to this query, and then that query is already associated with the session manager or the message request you're going to be sending. Okay, and then that's a query. Now we need to make something to receive this information. So we're going to dim a MSG response, and we're going to assign this to this will be called I response. I set response. Sorry, it's right there. Ta-da! And we're going to tie this to the session manager. Do request. And that's pretty much it. This sends that query to QuickBooks. So what we're asking here is for an employee query, and what we're going to do here is append this to this message request. So this declares that we want the query of all the employees. This is adding it into this XML. Like if we were to take this MSG request here and do 2 XML, let's console that right like that, and we'll pause it here and we'll see what happens. You're going to see what this little thing does here. Come on. Okay, here we go. Here's our query. You know what I'm going to do is copy this. I'm going to open up Notepad++. I just like using this thing because it makes stuff look a lot easier. There we go. There. Ta-da. I'm doing this shit. Alright. They always have this on error stuff here, but you know, this is the query we're sending. We're asking for a request query. So that automatically knows, send us back all the bullshit. I'm going to go back in here. And what's going to happen now is that this is going to go and this is going to return back a response. So what we probably want to do here is MSG response.toXML. Alright. And I'm going to pause it. I don't need to pause it, just run all the way. Okay, so done. Alright, so that query went off. This is what was returned back to us. And we'll go back in here. There's the query that we sent off. This is the query that we received back from QuickBooks. As you can see here, it got the this is the list ID of the employee object. So this is how we can reference this object. This is the look back number. We show you when it was created, some other information about it, and stuff like that, and what the names are. Here's some more stuff. Now, if you know how to use XML a lot, you can just go here and go through every single node and get all the data you want. You might even be able to cast this into a class and be able to boom, there you go. But I'm not that crafty right now. For limited time, I've been using the examples it gave me, so that's what I use to create the rest of my stuff. So I'm going to stop this application. I'm going to remove these console lines here. Alright, so over here, this is the request. This is the message response we get back from QuickBooks. So now we got to go through this response and break it apart and get the information out of it. So what we need to do is basically go through every single element inside there. So we need to create what's called a response list object or something. So response list as QBFC3. I response. Come on, I response list. There we go. And we're gonna get. Oh, fuck that all up. Oh, I'm screwing something up. I was looking at a different line of code here. MSG response dot response list. See here, this is the here's the thing we printed out earlier, and here we're going to grab back the actual structure of it, I guess. So we're going to break all that up inside there. So now we can iterate through that information. So now what we're going to do is select the first element inside there, because the one request we added in there was to get the names out. You see in here, this is the first item. we can send a request with a bunch of stuff in it, and then we'll get the second item, the third item, fourth item. But we only care about this first item here, so that's what we're going to grab. And of course, it's all index 0 or base 0, whatever you call that. So create something to pass, something to grab that current response. So we create a current response, and this is also going to be a response. Like up here, we have a response list. So now we're going to want a response object, which is going to be the same thing. Response, and it's usually right above it. So there it is, response. That's what we want. And then we want to target which response we want to hit. So that's going to be response list dot get at 0, the first one, first item. So this response now, it means it is this section here. That's this part of the information. Okay. So now we're going to go through that response, and we're going to go right through it all. There's a few things we got to do. One thing that the guy was doing was making sure he was grabbing the right class and stuff like that, but you know what, we process his message, we know what we're asking for, so we're getting that information back. If you're processing a whole bunch of things, you can actually go in there and check to see what type of response you're getting back, and basically it's going to be reading off the name of this node here, so you'll be able to, like, oh, it's not what I'm looking for, and you can troubleshoot that way and try to find where it is, or create something where it creates all the responses, and then you just cycle through the responses until you find the one that matches, and then you process it. But on here, I'm just creating a direct connection, asking for this data, disconnected. I'm not going to keep the connection open. I'm just going to boom, 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 hit get my data, leave QuickBooks alone. So I mean, really, it's not going to be used that much. I'm going to grab the employee list in the beginning, and then whenever someone comes to make an order, when it's done, they hit the thing and it creates a record. So that's right. That's no need for all this crazy shit. All right. What I need to do now is, as we saw in here, inside the data, the next thing that's going to come back is his employee ret. You see there's two of them here. So we need to create a for loop that runs inside here and grabs employee rets. Alright, and also we need a place to store this information. So what we're going to do here is go back to this deal here, and what we're going to do is create that employee ret. Create an employee list. Whenever you have more than one item, it's always a list. If not, it's just the ret. So employee ret list, or response list, I think it's what's supposed to be. Alright, and then we got to assign that to something here. So we got to get that from the I keep screwing this up. What am I? Oh, from there. That. Alright, and I'm going to get the details out of it, because that's what I want. Each object has items inside it, so I'm going to get that detail item out of it. So this now consists of this information, that one. Okay, and now I'm going to go iterate through that information. So I'm going to go for t as integer is equal to 0 to that employee list count minus 1. Now you can do a for each or whatever the hell. I'm just keeping it simple so you can see what I'm doing, going through each one. Alright, now I need to create something to store this information, because now I need to grab, because that list grabbed this, but now I need to grab just one. So I need to create something to store the employee response or request. I think that's what it is, request. Alright, so I'm going to create another object here. I'm going to call this current item as QB blah 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 dot employee ret, and just the way we did the count stuff earlier. So we're going to do employee list dot get at, and then we're going to say t, because we're going down the list, the for loop. So now this current item has all the information that's inside it, and so if we do current item dot, there we go, boom, all this information, and this is the stuff that's in there. One thing to notice, like here, boom, email. Now if we go in here, there is no email. So if we were to ask for an email, it would not exist, and we'd have problems. I'm gonna create something here. That way I can get rid of it. Hopefully y'all know what the with does. With does it where you can just hit dot and blah blah. It's like it's in there already, so you don't have to type in the current item all the time. Alright, so right there we saw something. We have to make sure the object contains information before we read the information. There's a few items that will always have information that you can kind of always rely on, but stuff like that. Alright, I'm going to go in here. I'm going to look at what we got here. So really the one thing we give a shit about is going to be the login name, last name, first name. That's really all I care about right now. And yeah, there's other stuff in there, but so I'm going to create a class, create down here, and call it employee, and then I'm going to put a public, I guess, login. Whoa. Simple, right? And I'm going to do a public overrides toString, and I'm going to return back the login name. Alright, there you go. Here's our quick little class. So now we're going to go here into this thing, and since we're dealing with this stuff, I'm just going to create a new employee. I'll call him imp. Alright, and I'm going to do imp dot first name is equal to, you see current item up there, so just dot first name. Now this is a tricky part. You put dot get value, because this returns back to string. The other one is just meaning you're talking to the node, so you can actually find attributes inside the information, but we don't need those. So last name is equal to dot last name get value, and then imp dot login name. And now remember that list box we added. We're going to do list box one items.add, and we're going to add the imp to it. That's pretty much it. This will grab the dudes, put them in that list. Done. Now remember earlier I said that we're going to have a problem where one of these items might be missing, and then the information's get kind of crap. Someone on my door? I don't know. Alright, I'm just going to create it where you can see where we gotta check to see if that object contains information, or that the object is null. One way to do it is just do if dot first name is nothing, or about if first name is not nothing, then do that. So this way we'll I can't double click. Yeah, double click doesn't work on me. There. This will check to see that if it doesn't exist, if it does exist, it's gonna put the shit in there. All right. There we go. Okay. So now we can run this. So run this. We already authorized it to always do it, so it should come straight to that form, and we should see the shit inside it. And there it is. System admin Steve L. So those are to the employee names. And that ends this tutorial. The next one I'm going to do is going to be doing the time in, time out, and I'll try to keep everything in little sections. Alright, till next time. Laters.